And I will tell you that when I have met liberals, and we may have some liberals here in the room, I will tell you the first thing I say is thank you. Thank you for caring. But I think if you act on that and think that Washington, D.C. is going to solve it, you're going to end up brokenhearted. And we're all going to end up broken. And we can debate that, and we may do that yet tonight. But the point is that the first thing, in our experience, when you create a bureaucracy down in Washington, D.C., the first thing it does is defend itself. It defends itself. I'm telling you from experience, I've been there. I mean, I spent assignments in Washington, D.C., and I watched this. I spent 18 months working as a military fellow that I tried to help people. I was working constituent services, you know, on the phone trying to cut through the red tape with the federal government. You know, that's not my job. Well, I'm told this is your job. I'm calling to try to help this person. You got to call this person. I call that person. Next thing you know, I call and I get no answer. I lost track of time. It's 5:01, and they're gone. You know, what we should try to. I believe we need to devolve a lot of this, move it back down here, where we can have more of an impact. So I wanted to share with you, because now I'm going to start to talk a little bit more specific about our platform, but I wanted you to understand that about me, my background that I think is important, and also how I'm coming from this from a historical lens. I think the way we're going to grow our economy is by removing impediments to growth. Now I will tell you that the two things that I hear the most, we have 137 towns in the 20th district, 10 counties. And what I hear, although there's certainly some specific things that demark or that make communities unique, we have more in common in the 20th than you can imagine. We share a belief in us individuals, and in families and communities. We're very suspect of Washington, D.C., and we're disappointed in what's even going on in Albany. But we believe in ourselves here. And I think that to get the private sector economy going, what we need to do is have targeted tax and regulatory relief. And I think we need to repeal and replace the health care bill. I believe that, and I can say that. This is informed by listening to small business owners and their employees. Because I have now, over the past 5 months, I've listened very carefully to many small business owners and their employees, and they'll share with you. You know, it's curious, you turn on the Sunday morning talk shows, and you'll hear from PhDs, some very wonderfully big-brain guys who are 20 times smarter than me. They're looking at econometrics and macroeconomic data. And they're telling, and some of them, there's a PhD from Princeton, and he says he's mad because $3.8 trillion is sitting on the sideline, not being invested. I don't think he fully appreciates the fact that small business owners are concerned about this environment. They view this business environment as hostile and uncertain. You know, and just to illustrate the point, will the people's tax cuts of 01 and 03, will they sunset? They don't know. That's impacting the decision on whether or not they're going to expand or grow. You know, the health care bill. Most know by now that this thing is going to be a big weight on our economy. But they're not even sure how much. That's impacting decisions. And then after watching the way that the health care bill was passed, when we were promised transparency, and that's not the way it was put together, and then the way it was put through reconciliation, the gentleman who just passed on, may he rest in peace, Senator Byrd said this was never what reconciliation was meant to be used for, to ram this bill through. Whenever we've done a major change like this, Americans have come together to find a compromise to go forward. And that didn't happen in this case. So when Americans have watched the health care bill go through like this, then you say to yourself, well, cap and trade, that won't pass. And small business owners say, really? You know, we're not so sure now. And then you say, well, card check won't pass. And then they're saying, well, I don't know, there's co-sponsors for it, including right here in the 20th. Are we sure it's not going to pass? All of this conduces to an environment that's hostile and uncertain for small business, and that's part of the reason why we're not growing. There's other reasons too, but these are some of the major reasons why we're not growing. So, in the moments when I get to watch like some of these shows, these Sunday morning talk shows, and they start to talk about whether or not the economy is going to grow, I feel like I want to talk to them through the TV and say, just go out and listen. Just go. 70% of our jobs are created here in communities. And so instead of relying on macroeconomic data, use microeconomic data. Talk to the small business owners who are going to create the job. Because by and large, they will tell you what they're telling me. Because right now they're not going to grow because of the taxation and regulatory regime that's in place, and because they don't know what's going to